Hey guys, it's Justin from 207 Overland. As promised, I'm going to give you a quick walk around of my vehicle today, show you a little bit about it and why I chose it. I truly believe that for overlanding, there is not a one-size-fits-all vehicle for everybody. Everybody's needs are different. I'm sure there's a lot of great stuff out there, new and used, that'll fit your needs on the trail perfectly. But for me, I have a 2006 Jeep Commander. It was a really inexpensive way for me to continue overlanding and fit basically my family's needs without sacrificing space, ability, or comfort while on the trail. Typically when I'm out in the woods, it's myself, my wife, my child, and my two dogs. And if you've seen my dogs, they're not small. One of which at his heaviest was 200 pounds, and the other one is about a 100-pound dog as well. So they need plenty of space, and something smaller just wasn't going to cut it. Now the Jeep Commander was only made from 2006 to 2010. It had a bunch of different trim levels and options available to it, and this particular one is the limited edition with the 5.7 liter Hemi engine. I could speculate for quite some time about why Jeep may have canceled the production of this particular vehicle. But as I said earlier, for my needs and the capability and the price range it was in, this was absolutely perfect. Let me show you around. Now, back in 2006, when this thing was new, it was actually considered pretty high-end at the time. Fast forward many years later, and it made it an affordable option and well-equipped option for what I do on the trail. So I've added a few things to this, obviously, but in its stock form, it's actually very capable for its size. Again, like I was saying earlier, it has a 5.7 liter Hemi engine underneath the hood, full-time four-wheel drive, selectable high and low range, electronic front and rear locking differentials, which come in quite handy in tricky situations. As far as some things that I've added, the vehicle over stock has about a 2.5 inch lift kit on it and upgraded tire size. Now the tires that are on here now are actually some of the best I have come across, and they're very inexpensive too. They're Calvary Mud Terrains by Road One. They're actually available on Amazon for like 120 bucks a tire, which is really cheap. They're aggressive, knobby mud terrains. They are actually pretty silent and get pretty good gas mileage on the road, but they are awesome for just not getting stuck. They're a 10-ply tire, which means I don't really have to worry about punctures. Yes, I'm sacrificing a little bit of ride comfort, but this Jeep is already really well equipped to combat that. The front of the Jeep is independent suspension while the rear is a solid axle. One thing I really do like for overlanding is that independent front suspension. I know for off-roading, solid axles in the front and rear are truly king for just extreme conditions and articulation. But as far as ride comfort and overall just jack of all trades, the independent front suspension is great on this. You don't get all the jumping and jarring around as you're going through these back roads, trails, and it really just provides for a comfortable ride. The only other thing I've really added onto the back here is this swing out tire carrier by Wilco. It's really cool. I think you guys should check it out if you're ever in need of something. You just pull the pin here, rotate this tire out of the way. On the back here, I've got a mount for a Rotopax gas container and a high lift jack as well. And then that gives me access to the back. I don't really have anything in the back at the moment because that's where my massive dogs live when we're on the trail. They need, as I said, all the extra space they can get. Looking at the interior in the back, this is where my child rides very comfortably. I've got my Iceco cooler right next to that, which is powered by a Jackery, actually. Love to tell you guys a little bit more about that at a later time, but was looking for an inexpensive way to have power while on the go. Basically, the Jackery is plugged into the Jeep at all times, and the refrigerator is plugged into the Jackery, meaning that whenever my Jeep is running, that Jackery is charging, and when I turn my Jeep off, it runs the fridge. So far, I've been able to run the fridge not only all night, but for up to 16 to 18 hours on that little guy down there, which is more than enough for my needs. Stepping back into the cockpit here, as I was telling you guys earlier, this Jeep for the year is actually very well equipped. It came stock with QuadraDrive 2, which is to date one of Jeep's most advanced 4x4 systems. It's actually second to only the system that's available in the Rubicon package. Basically what this gives me is front and rear locking electronic differentials and the low range transfer case option as well. Also has a neutral capability built into the transfer case, which is really nice if I were to ever flat tow this behind, I don't know, say a motorhome or a bus or something. I'll tell you more about that at a different time. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Here is where I typically have a tablet with all my GPS navigation on it. Got my communications up here, Rexing dash cam, GMRS, and a CB radio. Down here is more controls for the radio. This one here powers up my lighting. This one here powers up the cell phone booster, which I was telling you guys about earlier in another video. This one here is a blank for now, but I do have a plan for that at a later date. And this powers up the refrigerator via the Jackery. Behind me, in this seat here, actually behind the refrigerator rather, I have all my recovery gear. I've got tow ropes, snatch block, kinetic ropes, D-rings, you name it, I've got it back there. Mounted on the dog barrier back there, I have a first aid kit and survival kit as well. Highly recommend having something like that with you on the trail, especially if you're going to spend extended periods of time out in the remote wilderness. Here's what everything looks like up here, turned on. I've got front and rear facing dash cam that records anytime the Jeep is turned on and in motion. And just above that, I have lighting controls for all the exterior lights. Show you guys what that looks like on the outside real quick, but real easy to use. Everything just toggles on and off. And then I do have that master kill switch for it down here as well. It's light out now, and I will absolutely do a separate review later on the individual lighting, but essentially I've got front bumper light here, a couple of ditch lights, a high mounted light bar. I've got small front and rear facing amber LEDs. Those essentially are my dust lights, poor weather lights. When I'm on a trail with a lot of other people and it's dusty, you can turn those on, and it's really just an awesome feature to have for safety and visibility. And then I have lighting all the way around the basket up top for the campsite. The lighting is all made by a company called Diode Dynamics, which I got through a local supplier called North Lighting Concepts up here in northern Maine. Fantastic companies to work with, and some of the best customer service and products around. Definitely show you guys a little bit more about that in depth at a later time. Hope you guys enjoyed the walk around. A bunch of people have been asking me for some time to talk a little bit about this vehicle, why I chose it. I know it's not your typical vehicle. A lot of people have said, hey, why don't you just go out and get a Wrangler or a Tacoma or something like that. Nothing against those vehicles. I've owned them in the past, actually. It's just for me, at this moment, this fits my needs better. It's got all the space I need inside for my family and my dogs. I know it's not a traditional overlanding machine, but it gets the job done. And if I had to replace it tomorrow, I'd have a really hard time picking out something that can do everything this thing can do and still not break the bank doing it. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and tune in next time.